In this lesson, we are going to look at a variety of ways to zoom within your image. And I'm going to show you a couple of different ways to do that by using the zoom tool, the navigator palette, and we're going to look at some features that are new in CS4, which make zooming a whole lot easier and a whole lot more exciting. So we have this image here that is open. This is an abstract detail shot I took of some trees in New Mexico recently. And if you look at this tab up here, it is at 64.4%. I believe this image is roughly 9 inches by 13 inches. So we are technically looking at 64.4% of this image. This percentage is here in the tab. It's also located down here. If you wanted to zoom into this image, you could simply highlight that percentage and say we want to zoom into 90%. You can just hit 90 and click enter. We're looking at 90% of the image. That number is also indicated here in the zoom level under this drop-down menu. We also have this zoom tool here. This is the same tool that is located down here in the toolbox. It's very easy. You can access it if you're on a different tool by clicking Z. And simply, you see that little plus sign? Say I want to zoom into this little branch here. If I click on that, that's going to go ahead and zoom. And look. And notice, we are zoomed in at 400%, and we're starting to get some serious pixelation. Just want to let you know that in Adobe Photoshop CS4 we have some new technology here which is called OpenGL. That is basically facilitating a smoother transition into a high-powered zoom. Wow, that was a mouthful. So if you have this new technology, you can take advantage of this new feature, and it's super cool. If you activate your magnifying glass, which is Z on the toolbar, and click your mouse, and see that? It smoothly zooms into an incredibly ridiculous amount. 3200. And if you want to zoom out, you press your Alt or Option key on the Mac, Alt for PC, Option on the Mac, and click out. Like we're in space. This is going to make editing much easier for you, especially when you want to look at things real quick, real close. Here we go, let's do it again. We're on a carnival ride. That is the new feature available called OpenGL. In order to access this new feature, OpenGL, you have to have a couple of things. You have to have a video card in your computer, and you also have to have a specific operating system. If you're on a Mac, you need OS 10.4.1.1, or if you're on a PC, you're going to need a Vista operating system. So it's a new feature, pretty exciting here. If I want to zoom out of here and I've got my magnifying tool, I can just hit the Alt key on a PC or the Option key on a Mac, click, and I am going to zoom out. Now we'll get into the definition and more specifics about pixels later on. When you zoom in and you see those little squares, let's do that again. That is basically the data breakdown of your image. Your image is made up of little pixels, square pixels to be exact. So we're looking at this image. It's breaking up. It's what we would call bitmapped at 1600%. Another way to zoom in and out of this image is to use the navigator panel. And if we go over to this little, it looks almost like a ship wheel, I would say. Click on that. We have the navigator palette. And look, it says 3200%. We are looking at this image at 3200%. And that number matches this little number down here in the bottom left-hand corner, as well as this number up here. Notice we have a slider here. We've got a small triangle and a large triangle. That is basically going to do the same thing that our zoom tool is doing. And you can zoom all the way out. And that's just another way to navigate within your image. It's the navigator panel. So I'm going to collapse that. We are zoomed into our image here. I want to explore the left-hand side of my image, and I'm a little disoriented. So I'm going to switch over to my hand tool, which is right above the zoom tool. You can access that by using the keyboard command H. So I have my hand tool activated, and that allows me to basically drag. I can click and drag and navigate throughout the image. And I'm going to zoom out by hitting Control or Command minus. It's another way to get in and out of an image, which we looked at. I'm going to demonstrate this new functionality in Adobe Photoshop CS4, and that's called the bird's eye zoom. Now, if we look at this navigator panel here, drag the square around with our little hand tool, that is zooming into a particular area, focusing on another part of the image. You can also access that by taking your hand tool, you press the H key and you hold it down, and then you click and you get this little box. See that box? It's similar to the box in the navigator panel. And you can drag it around, zoom into a particular area. So you hit the H key, then you click, and that will give you this little box here. That's called the bird's eye zoom. The size of the box depends on how far you're already zoomed into your image. Last but not least, see these couple of buttons up here that say actual pixels, fit screen, fill screen, and print size? Those are also really helpful. Sometimes when I'm zooming in and I'm a little disoriented, I hit a keyboard command called Control 0 or Command 0, and that's going to fit the image on my screen. Basically going to proportionately size it within my open window. If you hit the actual pixels button with your resolution and print size, see 100% down here, this is how it's going to print, and I have enough resolution to give me a fairly clear print here. If I hit the fill screen button, that is basically going to fill my open window based on the aspect ratio or proportion of the image. And then print size, it's another way of saying actual pixels, which is going to give me the final print size. Another little handy tool that's going to allow you to zoom and navigate within an image is, notice these two top tabs here. I have two images open, and we'll just click over to that image right here. That's another abstract landscape that I shot. Remember in a previous lesson how we went up to the Arrange Documents window and we had two up? Well, I'm going to go ahead and do that again. If you notice, I'm looking at two different sizes of this image, two different percentage sizes. We have an image over here at 100% and 40%. And you know what? I'm actually going to activate this image, and I am going to jump to my zoom tool by hitting Z. And I'm going to zoom in like crazy. So I'm going to hit my Control plus. And we're really starting to see crazy bitmap here because we're at 1600%. You know, I want my image to be at 40% to match this image here because I just want to compare. I might do a little copying and pasting or matching up these two images in order to make a composite. I want to compare different sections. I'm going to go up to that Arrange Documents window, and if you go down to the bottom here, it says Match Zoom and Location. So they are going to match pixels. See, if I wanted to do a little crafty editing here, that's going to show me a comparison of both images. It is matching this image here on the left because that is the window that I had activated. Say I jump over to this window over here and I zoom out by using the keyboard command Control minus, and we're at 25%. If I go back up to that window and say Match Zoom, that's what this image looks like at 25%. You can also play around with Match Location. I know that was a lot of information to digest. Just to recap, the different ways that you can zoom and navigate within an image. You can manually adjust the percentage of the image. You can use the zoom tool. You can zoom using the navigator panel. You can also use Control or Command plus to zoom in, or Control Command minus to zoom out. So find the way that works best for you, or use a combination of all of them. So let's move on to the next lesson and we will talk about screen modes.